There is a creature alive today who has survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill. A mindless eating machine. It will attack and devour anything. It is as if God created the devil and gave him jaws.
Are we, like, doing the thing?
Oh, yeah, we should...
Is this
Hello,
it?
everybody.
Is this the podcast?
This is now the podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a theater near you. My name is Kris Randazzo, and I'm joined this evening, as always, by impressive sideburns, Paul Giroux.
That's me.
And surprise skinny dipper, Sean Doyle.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
This month's letter was J, and it was decided that since I've never seen it before, we would watch Jaws. Did this classic live up to its reputation? Let's find out. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Am I classic sideburns because I'm Quint?
You see the dude with the sideburns?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had sideburns.
I just called him sideburns the whole time. I don't know anybody's names.
What I want to know is, could I be Quint? Like, is it too late for me to have a career as a salty old fisherman? Like, is that something I could pull off at this stage in my life, or does that pass me by?
No, I think you could do it.
I mean, you're always reading about
how much do you like cigars?
I mean, do I need to have a cigar to be a salty old fisherman? I guess here's what I'm saying. Like, is being a salty old fisherman a thing that you can only sort of earn that title by having that your whole life? Or is it something that I could, like, get into in my 40s, right? Like, you're always hearing about how, like, oh, like, Morgan Freeman didn't start acting until he was 50, you know, and this person... You know, I think Samuel L. Jackson, like, didn't start acting until he was in his 40s or something. All these people. Albert Einstein was a patent clerk for years and didn't do anything of importance until blah, blah, blah. Like, could I now be a salty old fisherman? Or is that ship sailed, so to speak?
No, man, I think you can do it. I think if you believe in yourself, you could totally... Because, first off... You know, nobody asked for that guy's credentials. Like, he just had a bunch of stuff up in his little cabin there, right? So you just got to get a bunch of stuff that looks like you've been doing it for a long time. And if you're salty enough, nobody's going to question it.
And then I gotta talk like this and make weird, innocuous statements and strange, sexist remarks and sing little sea shanties.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like you got it down.
And really, 5 years in the sun, that'll put your brain right where it needs to be, I think. You know, I mean, he's got 40 years in the sun, but 5 years in the sun, just no sunblock. Really just sit out there and cook for a while. You'll have the lingo and the quips down.
I guess the way I see it, like, it feels like any kind of activity with a boat feels like something you got to have, like, money for. You know, which, like, I know if you're a salty old fisherman, that's not the case. Like, that guy was just his life, you know. But, like, for me, I've never had anything to do with boats. But I think that if money wasn't an option, like, I'd totally take that up as a hobby. Like, I don't know what I'd do, but I think if it was just, like, I had a whole bunch of money and I didn't have to pay bills and I didn't have to worry about working, like... I would get a boat and go do something on it, you know, like, I don't know. But it seems like such a big commitment, right? You got to have a place to put it. And then, you know, I guess that costs money. And then you got to, I don't know, probably like fuel for it is money. It seems like a big money commitment.
So I've probably brought it up on this show before. I regret every decision in my life up to this point. Insofar as I am somehow not studying fluid dynamics. That's all I want to do. And every day I pour the milk in my coffee and I watch the swirl and I think to myself, that's what I care about. Fluid dynamics. Why didn't I study fluid dynamics? And then I pour my Guinness at night and I watch the bubbles do the fun thing and think to myself, fluid dynamics. So Paul, if you're going to become Quint, I will happily become, not Brody, the other guy. I just want to study the water. That's all I want to do. How waves work. Do you know waves don't actually move left to right? They just move up and down, man. That's where the energy is. There's very little movement, or the energy moves side to side. The wave particles, the water, just goes up and down, really.
What do you do with fluid dynamics?
You study stuff, things. If hydroelectric, if they really start producing a lot of hydroelectric plants, it'll be huge. It'll be huge. But I think it's pretty minimal.
You're going to you'll be a sought after individual. You already are a sought after individual. You'll be even more sought after.
See that?
So what's stopping you? I feel like I know what's stopping Paul is just the lack of a boat. But what's stopping you from studying fluid dynamics?
Taking on more college debt before I have the law school debt paid off seems insane, especially when there's probably not a job there at the end of that college experience.
But you already have the lawyer job.
Yeah.
Is part of fluid dynamics all the particles were constantly vomiting at each other that I had no idea until this pandemic happened?
Yeah. Maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's probably a fluid dynamic guy working over at the CDC. He's in there.
So what you got to do is find him and take him out.
That's right. I just got to take that one guy out. That'll open up one job, and I'll get it. But Kris, if I'm going to be the smart guy who studies sharks, I'm only going to study the water, and Paul's going to be Quinn. That means you got to get a gun and become a sheriff.
You got to race up and down the beach and tell everyone to get out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that. I'm all about that life.
Well, yeah, I guess we know which of us is which now. That was easy.
Mm-hmm. Got it all figured out.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Good podcast. See you guys next time.
This one is just run away with itself.
Yeah. Well, you didn't ask me which character I would be. You asked me how I've been, and yeah, I guess I've been good. I mean, it was a while since we watched this one, because we didn't get to record last week.
Yeah, sorry, my stomach really didn't want to be in my body anymore.
Lame. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I've I've forgotten a lot of things. I've learned other things. I've watched a lot of other movies since this. I feel like I've watched an inordinate amount of movies this month. So I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about some of these other weird things. But yeah, things are pretty good with me. How about you, Sean?
Same old. I don't think I have anything wild or crazy to report. My background TV show as of late has been Big Bang Theory. I say background TV show. I just let Netflix play for 8 hours a day while I'm sitting in my living room working. So I'm kind of watching, but let's be honest, I'm not really watching. But I'm kind of watching. I'd never seen Big Bang Theory before, and upon this brief perusal, I'm on season 12 now, and it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a rousing recommendation.
I hate that show so freaking much.
You see, and I thought I was going to have strong feelings because I think I knew you hated it, and I knew a couple people hated it, and then I knew some other people who really liked it. I was like, well, I'll fall into one of these camps. I was like, nah, it's fine. I mean, it's funny at times, but there's lots of... It's not like, Simpsons at their peak where, by the time I stop laughing, I'm laughing again. That's really what you want out of a sitcom. It's not like that. It's got its moments, but I don't know. It's kind of generic-y. I don't want to talk crap on it. It's fine. It's it's a B sitcom. All right. Plugs along.
I've been doing a lot of background TV too. I've been doing Law and Order.
The
That's
new
fan
one,
of original recipe Law and Order.
the new one that's supposed to be the old one.
Oh, I've been watching that too, but there's only been 3 of those so far. I have all the old Law and Orders just rolling in the background while I'm working. Anytime I don't have to worry about writing something, I'm just playing old Law and Order episodes and background watching them because I've seen them all before.
Right.
And back when TNT used to marathon them all day every day, so that was a good time. That's been fun. I was goodness, what am I on, season 6 now? I think.
Kris, speaking of background TV, have you checked out the new Mystery Science Theater streaming thing?
Not yet. I want to, but I just haven't had the time to. Kind of. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, and Karen and I have had other TV engagements to catch up on. Like, last night we watched Moon Knight, which was freaking awesome.
Agreed.
Yeah, it was good. Oh God, are we
yeah.
going to talk about that? Oh no.
No, we can hold off on that for now.
Okay.
No, Moon Knight was great. We did. Karen's been really into this show, Killing Eve, which is on its last season. So I was, watching that, and we've been watching for our. Actually, was the main feature in one of our previous TV show podcasts. This week's episode, we were introduced to the Around the World in 80 Days series.
Okay.
It was it's like a limited series. It was on BBC, I think, starring David Tennant. It's really good.
I thought you were talking about the Jackie Chan, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Owen Wilson.
Right? No, it's actually a whole series, and it's really good.
I like anything with David Tennant, so I might have to check that out.
Yeah, totally check that out. Like Star Trek Picard is on, so we've been watching that. Of course, the new Law and Order episodes have been pretty good. First one was really rocky. I'm a huge Law and Order, the original Law and Order. I don't really like the spin-offs because they're all like stories and stuff. Like, I'm supposed to care about people's lives, and the original Law and Order is just just whatever happens in that episode. There's no like, and here's the big long-winded backstory of like why this detective's acting this way or whatever. It's like, no, it's none of that. It's just, this is the case, solve the case. And then when that episode's over, the next episode's got nothing to do with the previous one. It's just another case. And it's all just the mystery solving.
And it starts immediately.
It starts immediately. And that's what I love about it. It doesn't mess around with any of that stuff, but all the other Law and Orders are like TV dramas where it's like, oh, well, this is about the detectives' lives. And it's like, sure, whatever, have fun with that, but that's not what I'm here for. I want to solve mysteries, and that's all Law and Order is, and it's great.
It's also why you're going to become a beat sheriff, so you can solve mysteries.
Exactly. I'm ready to be a beat sheriff.
Yeah.
I'm totally ready.
This really all ties together. This is working really good for us, guys. We got to get a boat and catch a shark.
Or get on a boat and not catch a shark, but tell people we did.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess to conclude what I was saying about, I guess I'll conclude what I was saying about Mystery Science Theater, but then also since you guys have been talking about TV, I have a thing to say. But yeah, the Mystery Science Theater thing is weird. They posted the first new one, but I think it's like a draft version of it. Like I think as MST backers, like we get to watch like pre-screenings of stuff. So I started watching that, and it's been pretty funny. Like, I guess one thing that's weird about it is, since it's a new one and it's the Netflix cast, the Jonah Heston guy, who I like, but the background stuff doesn't look like a set anymore. It looks like green screen stuff. So that was irking me a little bit. I don't know if I'll adjust to that. Like, it seems minor, but. Yeah, it was funny, but all the classic stuff, all the old ones, it's not like you just get a subscription to everything and you get all the old episodes. It's like you get 6 a month. Like they pick 6 that are like from the vault that you get access to as a backer, and then, or I guess at least the level that I backed it at, that's apparently what I get. So. I don't know. I thought that was weird. But then again, I have all the DVDs, so I don't know why I care.
Well, it's a lot easier to just hit a button and stream something than it is to bust out a DVD and figure out what you're going to watch.
I got to open the case.
The level of lazy is I mean, I'm with you.
It happens to me all the time with games. Like, I struggle, like, well, if I buy a physical thing, then I have the physical thing. And I like physical things. I'm a whore for physical things. I love hoarding, collecting video games. But if the kids just ran upstairs to get ready for bed, and I got like 5 minutes tops to play something, and I got to get up, open up the case, take out the cart, put it in the thing, put the other case back, then get back to the couch, as opposed to just push button start game,
it's time
that's
wasted.
like 30 or 40 seconds that I could have been spent doing something else.
Ooh.
Time wasted.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, you guys have been talking about the shows you're watching. I don't know if when we were talking before that was part of the episode or not, but yeah, I'm really really enjoying revisiting the Adventures of Pete and Pete. It's interesting watching it as an adult. It definitely captured a feeling about childhood that I did not realize at the time, and it's really funny going back and watching it.
I wonder what my kid will make out of that show. I should show it to him. I have those DVDs.
Yeah, and all the third season is on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, good times. But anyway, we're here to talk about Jaws. So let's talk about Jaws.
Well, you ready to feel old?
Always. I feel old when I wake up.
Wait. This movie's older than us. We're not that old.
It is older than us, but I feel like I realized how old it is, right? Because like at some point, Kris is going to ask us how we watched it, and I have it on DVD. So I popped in my DVD, and I do have some like anecdotal stuff about my old DVD because it was one of the, like I have some in my collection that were super old DVDs. So, it says things like, "Do you want to watch it in widescreen?" and things like that. But it's the one I have is the 25th anniversary. So I must have got that DVD in like 2000 because the movie was made in 75. So this is almost a 50-year-old movie. Like that sort of blew my mind.
Yeah, this movie's old as dirt. And it definitely looks it in a lot of ways. Like the fashion was really on point in this movie, but we will get to that in a second. Let's go over the basics here. So yes, Jaws is old. Jaws was released on June 20th, 1975, which is right before my birthday, except I was born in 81, and was distributed by Universal Pictures. It was directed by Senor Spielbergo, whose other credits include a ton of legendary movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Jurassic Park, E.T., and more.
Don't forget Inner Space.
And Inner Space. The movie stars Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, Lorraine Gray, Murray Hamilton. It tells and a shark. It tells the story of a small beach town that's terrorized by a giant shark in the waters and men who try to kill it. Manly men who try to kill it. I watched this via nefarious means with Karen. I had some ice cream and a couple of mozzarella sticks because owning an air fryer is amazing. When I say a couple of mozzarella sticks, I mean like I just went to the freezer, grabbed 2 mozzarella sticks, stuck them in the air fryer, and ate them. And it was wonderful.
So we are also enjoying our air fryer that we've recently acquired from a casino. And it is wonderful. But that's not what I use when I watch Jaws. We did not watch it by nefarious means. We paid I think it was like $3. I'm going to say on Amazon Prime. And I say paid, but really Jacqueline just has like credits all the time from she takes pictures of receipts and sends them in. I don't know what's happening. She's always doing stuff on the internet. But so we sort of paid for it. It wasn't nefarious. It was on the up and up, however it happened. And we had nice big bowls of chili to go along with it.
So chili's good. Maybe I'm going to have chili for lunch next week.
I'm not a big chili fan. It's actually my least favorite food. I like all food. That's my least favorite. But it just seemed fitting to go along with Jaws that we would have chili, and chum in the water.
I thought you were going to say because sharks love chili.
I mean,
it's a well-known fact. Sharks love chili.
Yeah, when they were throwing that stuff overboard to chum the water and everything turned red, that wasn't blood, that was chili.
It was chili. It was delicious chili. Award-winning chili. You don't feed sharks, who's going to feed them? God, have you guys even seen the YouTube-only Sif and Ollie episodes that happened?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, they're wonderful. They're wonderful. There's a whole extra season worth of Sif and Ollie that rebooted in, God, I don't remember when it was. It was a while ago. Must have been almost 10 years ago now that they did it. Started on Machinima and then moved over to Nerdist, and then nobody watched it, but they're brilliant. And one of them, they did a series where Sifl and Ollie do fake video game reviews, and one of the games was Feed the Shark. And there's just a wonderful song. They just bust into a song as Sifl and Ollie are wont to do about feeding sharks.
You don't feed sharks, who's gonna feed them? You know that sharks need extra feeding. You don't feed sharks,
so good.
Is there really a video game called Feed the Shark, or they made this video game up?
Yeah, no, they were all fake video games. So they reviewed games that they made up. So yeah, there's no actual game called Feed the Shark.
Okay, because some of them weird little games you can play on your phone, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with those things. I play this game on my phone where you have to like connect dots that are the same colors, and then the dots disappear, and I'm a little bit addicted to it, and I've gotten very far in the game, and it's kind of an obsessive thing when I like don't have anything else going on. But then it's got ads for other games, and I'm like, who the fuck is playing these games? Like one of the game, like every single game seems to have like a guy that like kicks a woman and some orphans out of a house, and then they gotta like go to some other house, and there's like the chimney doesn't work, and there's snow everywhere, and it's like hit these blocks or these orphans will die. Like I'm like, who's playing these games? They make me so mad.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've seen those ads, and they terrify me, but I don't really play too many mobile games, so I don't run them very often, but I do know what you're talking about. I also just want to let you guys know I threw a link into the chat to my YouTube channel, which I believe is the only place where you can find those Syphil and Ali episodes.
Oh, okay.
Well,
They were all taken off of YouTube, but I had I dug them up through the Internet Wayback Machine, and I basically just I ripped them from the Wayback Machine, and then I re-uploaded them onto my channel in sequential order. There's 14 of them, and they're great.
Yeah, when you said it was on YouTube, I just figured you could watch it anytime. I didn't know that. I don't know.
Nah, yeah, they've all been pulled down, but I got copyright claims on a handful of them, because like the channel that they were on, Machinima, I don't think really exists anymore, or they went through a big management change, and Nerdist removed all of theirs too. And I think the Nerdist ones are the ones that all got copyright claimed. So I didn't upload them for money or anything. I was just like, these need to be out there in the world. So let's see. Yeah, it was some of the Machinima ones. Yeah, got copyright claims, and then a bunch of the other ones didn't.
So will you get in trouble for that now that you've said it on this podcast? Like, will the Syphil and Ali police come after you?
No, basically the copyright claim just means that if they get enough views that YouTube runs ads on them, then the person who claimed the copyright gets the ad revenue, not me.
Oh, okay.
That's all that means.
All right, well.
And the most popular one by far is Calls from the Gamers, which has 4,500 views.
Cool. Well,
the best one, though, Feed the Shark. Where's that one? I don't even see it on here. There's Feed the Shark. 1,817 views. It deserves more. Go watch Syphil and Ali Feed the Shark. It's genius.
I'll watch it a bunch of times so you make some money off of it.
Yeah, that one doesn't have a copyright claim, so yeah, hook me up.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember what I ate when I watched Jaws because it was so long ago.
But do you own an air fryer?
I don't own an air fryer. I don't remember what I ate. I think what I ate was these like cold cookies. They were cold because we got them from Trader Joe's, and I thought they were something else, and I put them in the freezer. And then Sherry was like, "Where's those cookies?" And I was like, "Oh, those were cookies." So they weren't really better cold, but I think they were just cold because I was confused. And then yeah, we watched it on my 25th anniversary DVD, which is also almost 25 years old. So, good times. We're old.
Hooray for being old.
Well,
all right.
What did you think, Kris, since it was your first time seeing Jaws?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I was really not sure what to expect out of this because, I mean, it's one of those really old movies that sometimes those don't match up with modern sensibilities of movie watching. I've also seen a lot of people who absolutely hate this movie, of just like, this movie is just so stupid. I can't believe this is as popular as it is. And so I was kind of afraid I was going to watch this and just be really let down by it. It's real stupid. But in a fun movie kind of way. Like it's such a Steven Spielberg blockbuster movie, and it was was fun watching it and kind of noticing the parallels to Jurassic Park, of just like the way that, just kind of the way the movie kind of flows with a couple of the action sequences. As a right, it's, I wrote down, crazy how similar the shark cage scene is to the T-Rex eating the van. Like, it was shot so similar to like that, you know, when the T-Rex is trying to eat the kids in the van, and like it was really strikingly similar. I thought that was super cool.
Even now that you pointed that out, even the pacing, I mean, it starts off with an early kill. It gives you that little scene that's a kill, and then it goes to quiet for a while. And when I say quiet, like, you know, then you get exposition or whatever, then it starts building everything. So they both did that exact same, you know, get their hooks in you and then move forward.
Yeah, it definitely followed a similar formula, which, I mean, you know, it's not like Spielberg can rip himself off. It's a formula that works. It worked real well. I have some questions, but we'll get to those.
I mean, but the thing that I think that is so interesting about this movie is that I think in a lot of ways this movie created that formula for many, many other movies.
I think you're absolutely right.
And I don't necessarily think that was intentional. Like, I think that I mean, you know, I think a lot of it is Steven Spielberg's talent, you know, like I think he managed to steer this thing well and pull out a great movie, but it also sounded like he was trying to do things that people couldn't really do effectively at the time, and they had to pivot a lot with this movie. Kris, you were talking about all the people that were in the movie. You gave the whole cast list, and then you were like, and the shark. Apparently the shark's name is Bruce. That was the name they gave the shark. But I think Bruce didn't work as much as they wanted him to work, and they had to make some things up sometimes. And you know, I think a lot of that stuff that's drawn out where you didn't necessarily, you weren't, it wasn't in your face shark attacks. It was sometimes a slow burn kind of thing where it's like the barrel pops up here, you know, or like here's this suggestion of a thing that we know is the shark. That like that's been used over and over again in horror movies. And then in a lot of ways I also like, I don't feel like this was a horror movie. Like, I feel like it is and it isn't, you know, like I feel like it coined a lot
thriller.
of
I'm going to kill you.
What?
I'm going to murder you. That was like one of the few notes I took. It was like, I was like, this movie absolutely, what Steven Spielberg did is he took all the elements you need for like 3 or 4 different genres. It was like, I'm going to film them all at the same time. Because parts of it are 100% a horror movie. That whole opening scene, you've got it literally opens on a bunch of teenagers like smoking pot, drinking, and 2 of them are going to go have sex. And then you hear some, some horror music, and then one of them's murdered, right? Like, that's like, it might as well be Jason or Michael Myers or whatever, right?
Can I say something about that real quick?
Go ahead.
I don't think I would have chased Christy onto the beach. Like, when she was like, hee, come get me. Like, I think I would have been like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to stay by the fire.
I have, before, again, I just have to ask one of my first questions. What was in that flaming trash can? Like, she's just over there like, all right, hey, how you doing? And like, they're looking at each other through the smoke of this little burning trash can that's away from the fire where everybody else is. What was in that burning can?
Well, they were burning the bodies of all the children that they just sacrificed in their satanic cult. Because again, classic horror movie, kids doing bad things, then they get murdered.
Well, they were supposed to be, that was before the beach season started there. So I think those kids were all supposed to be sort of the like wealthy kids whose parents have summer homes on the island, you know, like maybe they were just keeping warm with fistfuls of money, just burning 20s. I don't know.
Oh, so, all right. After the horror movie open, and it circles back to horror movie filming and horror movie music and horror movie elements, jump scares and things like that. But then he spends like the first hour, other than that opening scene, really doing like an adventure movie where you've got everything from like, the thing they've got to overcome. You've got this team assembling who all has their own self conflicts, and then they also develop interpersonal conflicts with each other, and that you can obviously is working towards a resolution, right? And then it's a buddy film. It's an action film, certainly. I mean, they blow up the shark at the end. Sorry, that's a spoiler. But I really feel like he took like action, adventure, horror, and I'm probably missing one or two others. And he really was just like, well, what elements work for these? I'm gonna do them all, and we're just gonna shove everything in, and it's gonna be great.
Well, one of the notes that I made was, yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%, Sean. That it's all right. Well, I want to say this before I say this. I want to tell a story if I can. Have I ever told you guys the story about how my college acting professor was in a trauma film?
No.
Okay. So this was, I don't know, probably about the time I got that DVD. It's probably like 25 years ago. It was, when we were using the internet in the early days to like all the stuff that we do now was like new at the time. It was like, oh, we can watch videos on here, or like, whatever. They're just killing time with things. And I discovered Internet Movie Database, so that was like a rabbit hole of like, this person was in this and this person was in that, and doing all the weird, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon that you did when you discovered Internet Movie Database. And then I started looking up professors of mine, right? Because like in college, I was working on like student films and stuff, and some of those things ended up there. And I was like, I wonder if anybody who is like my teacher has worked on like weird independent films. And so the guy that taught Shakespeare, this name, title popped up on his Internet Movie Database, and it was a movie called Blades. And then immediately I'm like, where have I heard that name? And so this is weird. Sean, did your sister hang out with that kid? I think his name was Micah, that my brother used to hang out with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they used to play like organized shows and stuff at whatever that place was down the street. Right? Yeah. So all the kids like knew this guy. Micah had this uncle that they called Uncle Joe. Like he was like, they would get rides from him and stuff like that. Like he was sort of a fixture in Micah's life. So like all the kids knew about him, and they all had stories about Uncle Joe. And my brother was like, yeah, Micah's Uncle Joe was in this movie called Blades about a lawnmower that attacks people. And then I'm like, all right, now I got to figure out like where I can watch this movie and like what it is. So it was an independent movie. It then got picked up by Trauma because it like sort of filled that niche. But it's a cross between Jaws and Caddyshack. It's about a lawnmower that attacks people. So it's, like most horror movies, it's modeled after Jaws because Jaws seemed to write the book on things, right? And like the golf pro is kind of the Roy Scheider character. There's a woman that I forget, she's like the assistant golf pro or something, but she was kind of the Dreyfus character. The old groundskeeper is the Robert Shaw character, is Quint. And then my professor was kind of like the Bill Murray character from Caddyshack. Like he was like the assistant groundskeeper. So there's a lot of weird elements in this movie with this like lawnmower that attacks people. But we were rehearsing a show, and I was like, hey, I was looking you up on IMDb. Were you in this movie called Blades? And he like turns beet red. He's like, I didn't think anybody would ever find this movie. But I don't know. That's my story to sort of say, like, this movie was 100% a movie about a shark, but then also completely not about a shark at all. And I was really struck by the fact that everything up until they get on the boat feels so different than everything after they get on the boat, you know? And it's like, it's almost like the beginning of the movie is really like a star vehicle for Roy Scheider, where he's, you know, like it's all about his struggle with this island, coming from being a police officer in New York City. And it feels like it's not really a movie about a shark, it's a movie about island politics and public safety, you know? And then after they get on the boat, like that it's this movie about the friendship between these three unlikely characters, and then how they like they almost have to it's almost like all of their input is then important to catch the shark, right? Because like Quint's like, oh, like, you know, I'm gonna call the shots, you're gonna listen to me, I know how to do this. And then when his thing fails, like he looks at Dreyfus and he's like, what do we do, you know? And then he's like, I'm gonna take out the shark, you know, I'm gonna take out the shark cage, you know, and that's gonna work. And then they're all like, all right, let's get behind that plan. And then finally it's Roy Scheider that has observed all of the other things that have happened and used his like sort of grit and ingenuity to shoot the O2 tank, you know. But like I feel like it's about then their friendship and about them using all of their combined experience to overcome this obstacle. Like it's almost completely about a shark and then not at all about a shark.
Right.
The shark can be anything. The shark can be a lawnmower. The shark can be, you know, COVID-19. Like you could make Jaws with anything.
Because they're on a quest.
Yeah.
It's a quest. The shark just happens to be the Holy Grail or One-Eyed Willie's treasure or whatever it is that these friends are questing for.
Yeah, it's you're right about it having that whole like quest thing. It's like he's, you know, Jaws is the final boss. And this was an interesting experience for me because and I was really hoping to get some clarity on it. I had never seen Jaws before now, but I played the garbage out of the Jaws NES game.
Oh yeah.
I loved that game, and I still do. I think it's a really good game. It gets a bad reputation because it's made by a company that's made some of the worst games on the platform, like Back to the Future.
I totally forgot about that game. You could get the little submarine, and then you'd go to different places with the submarine. Yeah, that was cool.
So I was expecting, or kind of hoping, to learn a little context around what you do in that game.
Oh, you thought there'd be a little submarine?
I didn't. I was wondering, is there going to be a submarine? Is there going to be like a large ship with sails that gets like a shark detector thing? Like, is there some aspect of it that involves bombing jellyfish or collecting a large quantity of shells? And no, none of it. Not even the way you beat Jaws in the game seems to have anything to do with the movie. In the game, you have to beat Jaws by like shooting a torpedo at him, which makes him launch out of the water, and then you got to stab him with your tip of your boat.
Well, but maybe Sean can shed some light on this because he watched other sequels of it.
Was there a sequel to Jaws where you have to stab him with the tip of your boat to win?
Oh God. I think they did stab him with the tip of the boat in Jaws 2, but that's not how they killed him. So no.
Huh.
Like, they jacked him up a bunch of, like, he was all bloody and ugly looking by the end of Jaws 2. He had some scars on him. But I don't think that's how they killed him.
Fascinating.
No, you know what's fascinating? I watched Jaws 2, and literally with a gun to my head right now, I'd have a hard time telling you how they killed him. I'm like, I remember all the kids were stuck on this like makeshift boat they had, and for some reason all the kids were out in the water again, because why wouldn't they be? And Roy Schneider ditches his wife and the other cop unexpectedly on a broken boat in the middle of the ocean where the shark still is. Didn't see that move coming. Real dicey. Real dicey. And then he continues on to go find the other kids. But, like, he could have just taken them with him on the good boat, but he left them on the shitty little crappy boat. He's like, I'm going to go save the kids and fight the shark. But this little boat just got attacked by the shark. How do you know the shark's not coming back? But all right. And then he goes and the shark eats a helicopter, and then after the shark eats the helicopter, Roy Schneider shows up and he shoots it a couple times. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what happens.
I gotta tell you, I hesitated to even bring up the sequels because, because I feel like there's so much more to say about Jaws, and then we would get into a rabbit hole with the sequels. But like, I think my experience with Jaws was, like finding it so good and so satisfying, and like, realizing all the sort of merits that this movie has as far as writing the book on certain things, and really enjoying that again with the experience of watching it. And then when I was like, oh, I'm going to watch some of the sequels, they all costed money. They were all on some platform. There was nothing that was on Netflix. I figured I'd find one somewhere, and I didn't. And then as I started watching clips on YouTube, I was like, this all feels very different. Like, I know none of them were directed by Spielberg, but like they also, they don't feel like that really cool, batch of ingredients that made this movie. Like they feel it looks like really campy horror. It looks like just shark popping up and eating people, like as if the shark was Jason or Freddy or something.
Yeah, no, you nailed. I mean, the second one doesn't. It's not to say that it's not in the same league as the first one's not even. That doesn't even. It's not the same sport. It's totally different. I don't know. I can enjoy it, but no, the first one is, in my opinion, possibly the best movie ever made. It's not my favorite movie, but it's got to be up in the top handful of movies ever made, in my opinion. It's a perfectly made movie. But the sequels, no, they're kind of trashy horror, summer blockbustery type movies, which I enjoy those types of movies too.
For as much as Roy Scheider's the star of the movie, like I really think that once they get on the boat, it's a story about all three of them. And Quint is so friggin' cool that I just don't know how any movie could live up to this if it doesn't have him in it. And and he died, so why bother?
Jaws
really
5, Quint's
Yeah.
Revenge.
Don't call it Jaws, just call it Sharknado.
Sideburns. That dude had some sideburns.
He once killed a man with those sideburns.
Which, by the way, I've been joking about the fact that I've been watching Sharknado, that I watched 2 of them. But do you think Steven Spielberg has watched the Sharknado movies? And if he has, do you think he cries? Like, do you think he is like, it took me weeks on a boat and everyone was miserable and cold, and you fuckers click a button and there's sharks flying through the air? He probably doesn't feel that way. I mean, none of these movies would exist if it wasn't for him.
I only watched the first Sharknado, but I love that movie. I really
That
enjoy
movie's
the
an
crap out of it.
experience. Yeah. Karen and I have watched at least the first 2. I can't remember if we watched more than the first 2, but yeah, Sharknado is a really special experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's plenty of times where they outright just plagiarize Jaws.
Why wouldn't you? So 2 shots. There was 2 shots that I noticed this time that I didn't notice in the past, that jumped out at me when I was watching Jaws. So one shot was a brilliant shot. It's when they're like, it's right before Jaws goes after the kids that are in the old people water. Like Schneider's like, go put the boat in the, I think he calls it the pond or the bay or whatever. And like, that was supposed to be safer for some reason. I don't know why. It just looked like part of the ocean to me, but what do I know? And then, of course, Jaws goes into the old people water. I guess it's smaller waves or whatever. I don't know. But as they're patrolling
I'm
the
not
water,
sure why that.
there's this one like, yeah, he said it's for old people. My guess is there's smaller waves because it's got a little bit of a breaker or something like kind of blocking it off from the ocean. But if you're worried about a shark, I don't know why a shark couldn't go in there. And clearly the shark can go in there because that is in fact what happens. But the so when you see like the police boats are like patrolling around or whatever, not in there, they're out in the ocean. And there's this one close-up shot, and they're just going through, and they're like, do you see anything over there? No, I don't see anything over here. And they're jumping back and forth. There's this one close-up shot of a guy driving a boat, and I think maybe you see, like, I don't know, let's say nipples up on this, like, shirtless dude driving his boat or whatever, and it's pretty close. He's taking up a big chunk of the screen. In the distance, past his arms, in front of his face, but like he's looking straight ahead and you're looking like sideways at him. Way in the distance, you can see the shark fin, and it's real quick. It's only like a 3 or 4 second shot, and I don't think I ever noticed it before. But it's one of those things that's like so subtle, it's upsetting. And I was like, that was brilliant, because now that I caught it this time, that was horrifying. Like, you know, it was before the attack occurs, before everything gets excited. It's like, oh yeah, guess what? Here's the shark, motherfucker. It's like, I don't know. It felt perfectly dropped in, and I missed it before. The other weird shot was the first night they're all out on the boat. Did you guys notice there was shooting stars?
Oh yeah,
I did notice that.
Why?
That was weird.
What was the significance of that? That had to be intentional, right? Is he trying to like make a Spielberg universe? Is this going to connect over to some of his other movies?
So
that was totally E.T.
Is that E.T. coming in?
From what I've heard about that, you know, Steven Spielberg has done that shooting star thing in other movies, right? Like he is, you know, he has put in a shooting star in the background of different things, and I think it's, you know, I think it's become sort of like almost a symbol in a lot of ways of different like magical moments in a movie. But like that was legitimately a real shooting star that happened to go through the background in that shot. Like they were just filming a shot, and you know, they all were kind of like, whoa, that this shooting star went through in the background. And he was like, I'll never get that lucky again. Like that was the coolest shot that happened naturally and just, you know, out of the blue.
That was actually one of my notes. I just wrote, what's with the shooting stars? Look at that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what I heard about it. I mean,
right,
don't quote me on that, but that seems to be one of the piece of movie trivia that I remember.
So, the first one, the first girl that Jaws killed, he like kind of nibbled at her a couple times, right? That was weird. I feel like the shark would have just been like, nom nom nom.
Are we talking about Chrissy that he slammed against the buoys and stuff?
Yeah, like what was he doing?
So
playing with his food? Is that what sharks do? I don't know enough about sharks.
I mean, they were trying to increase the horror, but actually sharks, if I understand this correctly, sharks don't want to eat people. And actually what happens is sharks come up and they think we're other things. They think we're like a walrus or a seal or something. I guess a seal, right? That sounds about right. And then they come up and they take a bite, and the reason there's not more shark fatalities and you get more shark bites than fatalities is they bite in and they realize they got the wrong thing, and they're like, that's not right, and they leave because we're not full of fat on the level that you see mammals that they're trying to eat are. We're mostly bone. So they take a bite.
Depends on where you're hanging out.
Well, yeah.
I can tell you that I am not mostly bone.
So they take a big bite and they're like, this isn't right. And then a lot of times they just give up and leave.
Yeah, but sharks are like eating machines, right? Like even if they got the wrong thing, wouldn't they just be like, well, I've committed to this now?
I guess sometimes, and that's where you get those fatalities that you do hear about sometimes.
The shark's mom is setting them back to finish their meal. This is what you have. You're going to eat it. You're going to like it. Mom,
it's not what I like. It's a surfboard. Yeah, that's my understanding of it. But obviously that scene was just shot in a way like if the Jaws just chomped somebody in half, I mean, they'd probably be dead instantly or so close to it we wouldn't get a lot of screaming. And they probably wouldn't let the person back up. There was a couple scenes where he's dragging him around right at the surface. And like, you see the person getting dragged through the water. It happened a lot in number 2. There was constant, you just see like the top half of the person sticking out of the water and like going as if they were on like an underwater ski boat, you know. Wah! But yeah, why doesn't he drag him down? I don't know.
Can I ask another question about Jaws 2, if you remember any of it, Sean, which you might not?
Let's give it a go.
Well, so obviously it still stars Roy Scheider. Obviously it takes place on the same island, right? Amity Island, I'm assuming.
Yep.
So did he have the same experience in this movie where, like, he seemed to be the only voice of reason, and everyone else is like, "Nah, we got to keep the beaches open to make our summer money"? Or by that point, were they all like, "Oh no, people will die"?
No, they did the same exact stupid things, and it's the same stupid mayor. And this time, when Roy Schneider tries to be the voice of reason, they fire him, so he's not the sheriff anymore. Because they don't want him to close the beaches and take care of business. They're like, no, you're out of here. He did fire his gun on the beach at one point at nothing. Well, not nothing, but it was like a school of fish. Like he yelled and screamed and everybody got out of the water and he took out his gun and he started shooting into the water. And it was like a school of, I don't know, stingrays or something. Like, it looked like the shadow of a shark, you know, more or less. He didn't hurt anybody. But they were like, you're fired. You're out of control. There's no shark. He's like, there's 4 dead people that are all chewed up. Like, it's clearly a shark. They're like, it's not a shark. That happens. It's a motorboat. It's like, it's never a motorboat.
It made
that was really special. That whole situation where they're like, people are dead, and the whole town's just like, no, open the beaches. We need our money. Like, I know capitalism is king.
It made me so mad when the woman, the mother of the little boy, comes up and slaps Roy Scheider and is like, you know, whatever she said, there were 3 deaths and you knew about it. You know, I was like, this dude was the only motherfucker who was trying to close the beaches.
In her defense, she didn't know that. She wasn't privy to this inner political like back and forth that was going on behind closed doors, where he wanted to close the beaches and the mayor wouldn't let him. Right. So I'm going to give her a pass. Plus, her kid just died.
It made me feel really bad for him.
Sure. Right.
But also, I can say that I think, in all honesty, if there was really a situation like that, that is 100% the way that it would play out. Like, everyone, you know, someone would go, but it'll kill us. And everyone else would go, but will it kill us that bad? Like, we need this summer revenue. This is
100%. When Kris said, like, come on, I was like, did you not just live through the same pandemic the rest of us did? Because I remember this exact conversation.
That's
like,
a good point.
You could argue who won the conversation because things did shut down for a while. So that side must have won at least a little bit. But then, like, the pressure was on to open it back up despite whatever science was saying. They were like, science, schmience. Let's get this economy rolling. I'm like, and I not to take either side. Maybe we struck the balance perfect. Seems unlikely, but maybe. Who knows? But that's 100% how this would go in real life.
You're right.
I had the same
no
thought.
less infuriating though.
I had the same thought when they when they catch the people catch that one shark, you know, like they all go out in the water like a bunch of yahoos. They catch that shark, and then Dreyfus is like, that's not the shark. Like, it doesn't match the bite marks. That ain't your shark, you know? And like the mayor's almost like, well, if we believe it's the shark, then it's the shark, you know? And he's like, I'm not gonna cut that shark open and have that little boy slide out on the dock. Like, you know, if we this is a shark, this seems good enough. Like, it felt to me like it was the same thing. Like, well, you know, if we don't test for COVID, then there won't be COVID, right? Like, if we just do less testing.
I think that was Trump's plan at one point, right? Like, if we test less, then the numbers won't go up. That was
right.
legit his plan.
That was an actual plan. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Which is despite the stupidity of it, is true. If you don't test, the numbers won't go up.
If you don't test, the numbers don't go up. If you say it's the shark, it's the shark.
If you don't cut it open, it's basically Schrodinger's cat. It both is and is not a dead boy inside there. He made a great point. He made a great point when he said, we're not cutting this shark open and having that little boy's body spill out on the dock. That's a good mayor point. And for some reason, everyone was just like, he's right, let's go home. It's like, but the obvious solution there is to do exactly what they ended up illegally doing or whatever. It's like, well, clearly, yeah, let's not do it on the dock. Good call, Mayor. You're right.
Yeah.
Let's go take it in a warehouse.
Somewhere else.
Right, anywhere else. You are 100% right. Here is not the place. But then that was somehow the end of the conversation. Well, we can't do it here, so I guess it's over. What? What happened?
I did really like that scene too when he pulled the license plate out of the shark and he was able to say, this shark came from over here. It's not your shark. I thought that was a cool scene.
Speaking of our shark, that was as a longtime Clark's fan, it was nice for me to see the man goes into cage goes into salsa, sharks in the salsa. It was nice to see a lot of the the things that I've seen referenced over and over again for like my entire life was really cool to see them where they come from, like the Bad Hat Harry. God, what show we used to watch a show. There was a production company called Bad Hat Harry that always like ended with, "That's some bad hat, Harry." It was such a weird line.
Yeah, I remember
such
that.
A weird thing to happen too.
I wish I remember what show that was.
I gotta look that up because it's that we looked it up right after the Bad Hat Harry House. That's what it was.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's the end of episodes of House. So like that was fun. Let's see. I did notice that in this I thought was just really funny, like in that when they killed the shark killed the girl in the beginning, but then the next one was the little boy, and there was like way more blood from the little boy than there was from the girl, like by a lot. Right when they were all going out there to get the shark, Karen said, "Man, men really do be out here menning." It's just like, wow, that is just a bunch of dudes that are like, yeah, I'm gonna go out here and get a shark, get a bunch of money, and be all manly. That was really something, and kind of hit the hammer on the nail there.
You see,
I wrote down this sideburns guy is really special.
You're making fun of the men, and all I could think, like, it made me think of like Jed. It's like, if this happened and Jed was around, we'd all be on a boat against our will, trying to kill a shark with some sort of homemade explosive.
I remember being in the woods against my will at some point, hunting lynxes, like
with a wooden spoon.
We're gonna go out in the woods and we're gonna catch a lynx.
I can only assume that the time Jed caught the shark, he watched Jaws the night before and was like, "That's it, I'm going and I'm getting a shark." And then he went and got himself a shark and then brought it to me at the bookstore still alive and threw it on the counter when I'm trying to work and walked away.
Oh, I never heard that story.
Oh, yeah, this is a wonderful story. Sean, you got to tell the Jed shark story.
Jed decided he was going to kill a shark. That was his plan. And then, like, this was like, I think it took him a couple days or whatever, maybe a week. I don't remember how long it was. I'm working at the bookstore one night. It's like 9 o'clock. I'm there alone, sitting at the front counter. Jed walks in and throws on the counter a bleeding, still alive, I'm going to say, it wasn't a giant shark. It was like 3 foot, right? 3 foot long shark. It was big, but it was still alive. And it was just flopping around. And he said something Jedish, how do you like me now, bitch? And walked out. And like, I have customers in the store. And this thing's just bleeding all over merchandise.
He left the shark there?
Yeah, and left. So then I'm like, I pick up the shark because I can't have it continue to bleed everywhere. Everyone's staring at me like I'm supposed to be running this store. And like, I don't have time to go properly kill it. So like, I took it in the bathroom and put it in the sink and turned the water on. I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this thing. I'll deal with it after I close. I got like a half hour to close. I'll deal with it then. And then just lock the bathroom door. It's like, I don't know. What are you going to do?
Oh, man.
He came back at closing to retrieve his prize after he went and got himself dinner or something at Applebee's. I don't know what he did.
That feels like a different horror movie. Bookstore shark.
Can't use the bathroom right now. There's a shark in there.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh boy, I think that was about all I wrote down. Oh, that was a big question. What exactly did the barrels do? Like, I think I figured it out by the end, but I was really confused by the barrels at first.
Jacqueline asked me the same thing. The purpose of the barrels, I'm fairly certain, is that you put the big, long, spiky harpoon thing into the shark so that it can't come out, and it's tied to the barrel, and the shark can't go deep anymore without really exhausting himself.
Right. The point of the barrels is to tire the shark out.
Tire him out. So that then he's saying he can't go down not with 3 barrels or 2 barrels. I don't remember how many barrels. But also
tire him out and keep him near the surface.
Tire him out, keep him near the surface, and also once he is too tired to fight him, then you can see him. So if he's, even if he's pretty far away, the 2 or 3 big yellow barrels, out in the distance, you should probably be able to see him on the ocean. There's nothing else to look at, right? So then all right, he's over there. So easier to find him, tire him out.
Huh. All right. I'm glad that all worked out together, but I was real confused at first.
I had another. You were talking about all the men out menning. I had another sort of thought about that, and then sort of tied into Quint. Because it was interesting how the town managed to take this tragedy and then turn it around into a money opportunity, right? Like the whole beginning of the movie is so staggering, but not unbelievable, would totally play out this way, that then they managed to drum up more tourism to the island of all these idiots coming to try to catch a shark and win their prize. And I thought that it was so interesting that Quint is conceivably a resident of this town. He's not set up well. I mean, he's not set up bad, but there's not a big to do about introducing him. I think his introduction speaks for himself. He's in that meeting and he puts his hand on the chalkboard and everybody looks at him and he's like, "I'll catch your shark," and you're like, all right, that's all we need to establish this character, this guy's a badass. But I guess, everybody in the town knew who he was. They were like, okay, Mr. Quint, they all knew him as Quint. Obviously he lives there, but he didn't seem concerned about the island revenue, and he didn't seem concerned that he was asking them for $10,000. He was like, "This is what I'm worth, and I can do it. And I'm gonna, I'll bring you the head, the tail, the whole damn thing." I thought that was really interesting about that character.
Yeah, no, I think I think exactly what you're pointing out kind of showed how he was both part of the town and separate from it. He was a salty old sea dog. This was his home base. This is where he parked the boat. This is where he, did whatever commerce he was forced to do. But he wasn't really part of the town, even though he lived there. He was his own entity.
Do you guys know any of the Jaws lore about Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw?
No.
I mean,
Jaws lore.
Well, again, this was another thing that I guess sort of fascinated me about watching this again. Was because I really liked everything that happened once they got on the boat. Once all 3 of them were on a boat, it felt like a whole different movie. Not that the beginning of the movie was bad. That was enjoyable in a different way, but the adventure part felt like such a different movie, and I loved watching them all be at odds with each other, and then all sort of come together and be on the same team, and specifically with Quint and Hooper, because they sort of set up from the beginning that those two were not gonna be fast friends. That he despised him because he's a city boy, a college boy. That Quint had his own sort of working class hero bullshit, as Dreyfuss says, and that it was going to take a while for them to actually earn each other's respect. But the legend seems to be, and other people on the set of Jaws have verified this, but Robert Shaw is dead. He died a couple years after Jaws, so he can't tell his side of the story. But the story seems to be that Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss did not get along, and that Robert Shaw liked fucking with Dreyfuss and sort of teasing him and bullying him. That he would say he would say like snarky, douchey things to him before the take started. So, so like some of that animosity between them was real because the two actors didn't get along. There's also some story where like Dreyfuss like knocked a bottle of scotch or something out of his hand, like knocked it overboard, and then when they were, when they have the barrels on the shark and Roy Scheider and Richard Dreyfuss are trying to tie it off on the back of the boat, and they're getting splashed with water and the ropes are breaking and stuff. Apparently that's a hose that's pointed at them, and like Robert Shaw just like turned the hose full blast on Richard Dreyfuss. So the story seemed to be that they didn't get along, but you hear Dreyfuss talk about it and he's like, I respected the man, he was great. And then everybody else is like, oh no, they hated each other.
I did like their relationship, how they eventually started to get along. I thought that was pretty cool. Because they just found ways to learn how to respect one another, even though they were, from pretty different backgrounds. They both had their own individual strengths. Like, Richard Dreyfuss was really smart and all this stuff, and that other guy had those really serious sideburns, and like, you really can't get much more fisherman than that. Like, I think the Sharks just respected that.
You have a lot to say about his sideburns and not the
they were so there, man. Like every time he was on the screen, I'm like, this guy just sideburns,
and not
just sideburns.
Not the amazing speech that he had about the SS Indianapolis.
I don't remember anything about that speech. I remember nothing but this guy getting eaten and having serious ass sideburns.
We've talked about this movie for over an hour, and we didn't even point out the fact that they coined the line, I'm not drunk enough to go out on a boat. And I love that line. I'm not drunk enough to go out on a boat. All I can think is that's a line I can use. That's a quotable line. That seems like that's going to happen this summer at some point. I'm not drunk enough to go out on a boat.
Who says that? Does Quint say that?
I think Schneider says it. Schneider says it, I think, to the other cop. It's towards the beginning of the movie. I think he says it to the... remember there's that one, like, under cop that, like, loves the boat? And he's like... He tells him to go do something. He's like, well, hop on. And he goes, I'm not drunk enough to go out on a boat.
I was always under the impression that they did, in fact, get a bigger boat.
No.
And, like, they should have.
Same.
That was this was a hell of a movie, man. I really did like this movie quite a bit. I'm glad I've seen it now. I'm not sure about tracking down the sequels as far as like, I only have so many hours in the day. I don't know how much of those I want to dedicate to watching numerous less good Jaws movies, but I totally understand why this is considered the classic that it is, because it's really good. It was very, very entertaining.
Yeah, I think now that I've seen some of the clips for the sequels, I will say unequivocally that I will probably not watch any of the sequels. Like they kind of look like a waste of time. Like they don't even look like they're entertaining in a Sharknado kind of way. Although what is really, but yeah.
While I agree with both of your assessments, I'm probably going to go ahead and watch 3 and 4.
Is there riff tracks for those? That might be fun.
There could be.
I haven't seen riff tracks in a good long while, but that was how I watched Twilight.
Oh yeah, same here.
I wasn't ready for how bad that movie actually was. Like I was really shocked when we watched the riff tracks of Twilight of like, wow, this is like, I mean, I thought it was going to be kind of crappy, but this was really bad. It's just an awful movie.
I still sometimes quote the riff tracks of Twilight because there's so much silence between the characters in Twilight. There's so much of like somebody saying something and then these like, these weird eerie pauses between the characters where they just stare at each other. And at one point the werewolf guy, he and the girl were having a conversation, and then they had one of those weird silent moments, and then he's got his shirt off because that Wolfman guy always has his shirt off, and he turns around, and one of the rivers just goes, "Enjoy my back." I seem to use that quote a lot now. Enjoy my back.
Oh my goodness.
I watched the Sharknado movies with riff tracks. It was helpful.
Oh, nice. I can't say I ever have. We genuinely enjoyed the first Sharknado. It's just like the masterpiece of awfulness that it was.
It's wonderful.
It really is. Well, I mean, I'm just about tapped on things to say about Jaws.
Yeah, I think.
It's great.
Sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, it's great. I mean, there's little more to... You can encapsulate this movie pretty quickly just by saying it is great. I don't know who these people are who didn't like it. They're crazy. It's a great movie.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think we've hit most of the points about about it writing the book on things, and just that it's enjoyable, in more ways than a horror movie, that it's got a lot going on. Yeah, I mean, I think the only point that I want to hit home more is just how much I like all three of their performances, and specifically when the three of them get together. Whether or not the friendship stuff felt more genuine and earned because the animosity between them was apparently real. I'm not sure, but when you got to those scenes where they were all drinking together and telling stories and enjoying it. It really, I don't know, it really sort of felt great as a movie. And then the fact that it kind of, them winning, winning the battle, killing the shark, outsmarting the system there, is sort of then the topper on the cake at the end of the movie. It just feels really satisfying and complete. So yeah, I enjoyed the heck out of this.
I will also say I didn't really watch it thinking that it was a horror movie. I don't like those kinds of movies because my least favorite thing is jump scares. I despise jump scares. I hate being startled while watching anything. So I was really pleased that this movie was light on jump scares. I was very, very, very happy with that. Because I just hate jump scares. I don't know what it is. I can't get into them, which is why I've never been a horror fan. I've never watched so many classic horror movies, because I know a lot of them are full of jump scares and I just despise them. I mean, geez, that was why I walked out of that movie Signs. I think I went to go see that with you, Paul.
Right.
And I left. It's like, I'm not doing this. I just hate jump scares.
Well, I think that the movie, how do I put this? Not that it actively didn't have jump scares, but I think that some of the things that were more like that moment, that were supposed to be sort of the horror angle to it. Again, that it maybe kind of wrote the book on it, some of the stuff to us, I think now just feels like the completeness of the movie, but to audiences in 1975, when, they're exploring that one boat and that floating head floats out of it, or, I don't know, some of those other things where it's they, you expect to see one thing and then, you find a body part, or, you see blood in the water or something like that. I think at the time that was oh my God, this movie's really, really getting people on that horror movie level. But now, because this was the thing that wrote the book on it, everything that has followed has defined the genre in different ways and pushed the limits of things. So, some of this stuff didn't feel like jump scares because it's tame to our standards now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's more of the things that are designed to, everything goes quiet, and it's that's I don't mind things that are scary, the camera pans on like, oh, here's the thing that I didn't expect to see. Like, all right, there's a little bit of intensity, and now I'm gonna see something, and oh no, it threw something that I wasn't expecting to see. Like that's cool. I'm totally good with that. It's like those moments, like in Signs, where it's just like, all right, everything's dark. We're walking out into a cornfield. Something is going to jump out at you. It's the entire purpose of this scene is just to make you jump. Is the only thing that this is here for is to startle the audience. It's not helping the story in any way. It's not telling anything. It's just, I want to mess with you, the audience. And that kind of stuff has always bugged me. I hate the feeling of being startled like that. And movies that just do that for the sake of doing it have never entertained me. So like there were definitely like frightening moments in Jaws, like a couple of scary moments, but all in all, it wasn't like, none of it was cheap.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that.
That's a fair point. All of those moments furthered the story.
And did a good job of, furthering the intensity of things. Like it just worked. All right, I'm done. Yeah. I'm all jazzed out.
Samesies.
Are we ready to move on to our movie picks for the letter K?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Can I guess what your guys' picks are?
Sure.
Live the dream.
All right. This is just based on me knowing the two of you and not really knowing how you feel about these movies, but like this is just my educated guess. Just because Sean is Sean and the style of movie he picks, I'm going to guess that Sean's pick is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even think of that one. I wish I had thought of that one. That one's so good.
Here's my rationale for Kris. I think that Kris is secretly mad that he hadn't seen Jaws and that he had to choose Jaws for Jay when he wanted to choose Joe's Apartment. So instead, he's going to pick another movie with Jerry O'Connell and animated creatures and go with Kangaroo Jack.
I can't believe I didn't even think of Joe's Apartment for the letter J. I wonder how that movie holds up, because I loved that movie in high school, but I have a feeling that it's not that good.
Yeah, probably not.
No, I didn't. I did not think of Kangaroo Jack. That's
okay.
A good pick, though.
Well, you can't blame a guy for trying.
Those were valiant efforts. I appreciate that.
That's 100% something I could have picked had I thought of it.
Awesome.
All right, who wants to go first?
I'll tell you the one I didn't pick. I thought about picking it because I wasn't sure if you guys had seen it, but I didn't do it to you. And I say that because it would have been done to you. Did you guys ever see The Knowing?
No.
Is it a Nicolas Cage movie?
It sure is.
Okay. Yes, I think I've seen it. There was a brief period of time where I was on a Nicolas Cage kick, like specifically the weird ones that all sort of feel the same, where I was like, how has he done all these movies? So yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen The Knowing, and I feel like it was bad.
So I went to see it in the theater. I like Nicolas Cage most of the time. I mean, he makes some shitty movies, but I don't know. He's fun. He made The Rock. He made Trapped in Paradise. He made lots of things that I really enjoy. And this seemed like a movie, I went and saw it in the theater, that I was going to enjoy, and I did. For about an hour, I don't know how long the movie is. Let's say the movie's an hour and a half. I probably enjoyed it for about an hour and 10 minutes, and then it started to feel funny in my tummy, and then I was like, something's going on here. And then I was like, I think something's happening. And then, like with 5 minutes to go, it came real obvious that, oh, this was a Scientology propaganda film, and I just sat through the whole damn thing. And that's all it is. It's just a Scientology propaganda film masked as a X-Files feel Nicolas Cage film.
Is he a Scientologist?
No, but I think he got in sort of trouble with tax evasion. I know he had like the best copy of Action Number 1, which was the first appearance of Superman. And he had to sell it to pay off taxes, and that's when he made like 10 or 12 movies in like 5 or 6 years that were all just pretty terrible, because he wouldn't say no to anything, because he was like I think jail was on the table. So it was like he was just whatever script got put in front of him, and the Scientologists were like, we want to make a propaganda film, and we'll pay you good money. And he was like, all right, I don't want to go to jail. So that's not my pick because I decided not to do that to you.
I appreciate that. I've had enough. I was kidnapped by Scientologists for like an afternoon when I lived in New York once. That was a good time.
Yeah. No, instead I went with something that I really don't know how terrible or good it is. I remember it from when I was a kid. I haven't seen it in 30 years, so it may have aged well or very poorly. King Solomon's Mine. Did you guys ever see it?
No.
I'm going to say mid-'80s. Oh, God, I should have looked up. The main guy is probably a name that maybe you would know. But I think it was basically Indiana Jones did real good, and they were like, well, what can we do that's like Indiana Jones? And they made King Solomon's Mine. I think there was a sequel, too, but I don't even know what the sequel's name was. Like same actor on another adventure. He was an Indiana Jones type... Here it is, 1985, King Solomon's Mines.
1985. Richard Chamberlain.
Richard Chamberlain, there it is.
Sharon Stone. John Rhys Davies. He was in Indiana Jones.
Yeah. So again, maybe it's great or maybe it's just terrible. I really don't remember because I haven't seen it. But I was like, what's a good K movie that I haven't watched in a while that I'd rewatch? Like, this might be it.
That's a fascinating pick.
Yeah, I've never heard of this. Yeah, that's interesting.
I think there was a sequel because he played the same character in another movie, but it was called something else.
Well, there was an older King Solomon's Mines.
Wow.
All right, this is neat. All right, so it looks like there was King Solomon's Mines from 1950 was the first adaptation of the novel. Then there was King Solomon's Mines reboot in 2004, starring Patrick Swayze.
Oh, I just found the other one. The other one that I had, Richard Chamberlain, Sharon Stone, and James Earl Jones did another movie the next year called Alan Quatermain, which was the main guy.
Lost City of Gold.
Lost City of Gold. Yeah.
There we go. Wow, so this is like a little mini franchise, huh?
Yeah.
Check that out.
I'm looking this up. It looks like this Alan Quatermain character is a protagonist in a series of novels from the 1800s, like adventure novels. So I guess that makes sense that it would be a Indiana Jones style series of movies. Like it seems like the right kind of character to choose for that.
Yeah. Seems like Indiana Jones was probably at least partially inspired by this gentleman.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's a fascinating pick, Sean.
Well, thank you.
I guess I'll go next. I have I'm split on these two, but I think I'm going to go with I'll go with my gut on this one here. My pick was going to be the 2010 Karate Kid movie because I've never seen it, and I love the original Karate Kid. But
is that the one with the girl?
No.
I only saw the first three. I know the first three Karate Kids. I didn't. There was a couple more after that.
Yeah, there was the next Karate Kid was the fourth one, and that was the last one in the original mythology that's been continued in Cobra Kai.
The original mythology that you're talking about is called the Miyagi-verse, just so you know.
There you go. Because I love the original Karate Kid. I think parts 2 and 3 are varying levels of awful, but still entertaining. And the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank is just freaking terrible. But no, I'm talking about the 2010 one with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith. I've never seen it before, and it didn't look very good. And I'm just going to go ahead and continue to have not seen it.
Yeah, you're not missing anything.
Instead, I am going to vote for a documentary that I was really fond of when it first came out. I haven't seen it in a good long while. And it's Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. No, I'm just kidding. I did think about that one too. But no, it's I'm going to vote for King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters.
Okay.
This is a documentary about two guys competing for the world record on Donkey Kong. It's a fascinating movie.
Okay. I've always wanted to see that. It's been on my Netflix list and I just never watched it. All right, cool. So I guess that leaves me, huh?
It does.
Okay. Well,
Please
I
vote for Kung
too,
Pao.
I too, had an original idea for a pick, and then decided against it, and decided something else. So the thing I ultimately decided, I'm not quite sure how it's going to go over, but the thing that I didn't pick, but had been planning to, like I've been sort of working a couple letters ahead for a while. Like sometimes I get bored and I'm like, what's my pick for M gonna be? What's my pick for O gonna be? Um, so back in December when that Kingsman sequel came out, I was gonna pick that for K. Like I love those movies. And I was so excited they were making another one, and I was a little concerned since it didn't seem to have anybody from the first two in it. But I was like, I love these movies so much. I'm gonna pick that, and it'll probably be just coming out on DVD when we get to K. But then it showed up on streaming, and I couldn't wait. I was like, I want to see this. I have to watch it. And like, man, I did not like it. Like it was just it didn't have the same feel as the other two. It was weird. It was not enjoyable. So that's not going
That's
to
a
be my
bummer.
pick.
I liked the first Kingsman. I
Yeah.
never saw the second one, but
The second one's really good. They're both, the first two are both like kind of weird and out there, but like also really exciting, fun like spy movies. In the second one, Julianne Moore is the villain. And in the way that in the first one, Samuel L. Jackson is so sort of like flamboyant and out there. Like Julianne Moore is like so creepy and bizarre. She has this like sort of like fiberglass little village that's been built in the middle of the rainforest that's got like a diner and like it's like her own little town, and she's keeping Elton John there as a prisoner, and he's got to perform for her. Like the second one is wacky. It's so fun. You should check it out, Chris. Um, but yeah, the third one just was. It was. It felt like they were trying to do things that were outlandish like the first two, but it was not the same feel since it was a prequel, and also because literally none of those actors came back. It was a story about a completely different person. So, yeah, it was. I didn't like it. So I really had my heart set on that, and then when I decided against it, I really had a hard time finding something for the letter K. So I think what I settled on is a movie called The Killer, which is a Hong Kong action movie. So we've not done anything that's subtitled. So I don't. You guys got to be into that if that's the pick. But it's a early John Woo movie. That stars Chow Yun Fat from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and I think it kind of, is notable as far as like really cool like camera work and like editing for this action movie, but then also like all the stuff that made John Woo, like where they're having a standoff with multiple guns and there's doves flying through the background and things like that. Like it's like out there John Woo action. So that's gonna be my pick, The Killer.
all right, The Killer. You just reminded me of you were talking about like subtitled movies. I saw something pop up on Twitter that I've been actually looking for an excuse to sit down and watch the whole thing, because I haven't watched a kung fu movie in a long time. But somebody posted about this extremely bizarre kung fu movie called Drunken Dragon, or Exciting Dragon, I think is what it's known as in other parts of the world. And it really defies description. It's really quite special. So look that up when you get a chance. All right, so we're choosing between
just to chime in on Paul's thing. I've seen Killer. I love Killer. It's I just checked my movie list right now. It's number 19 on my all-time best action movies. It's a great movie. I haven't seen it in a while, so I wouldn't mind rewatching it. But as far as an action movie goes, it is phenomenal.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in forever. I'm fairly certain I saw it in college, but yeah, it would almost be like a new experience because it's been forever since I saw it. So
let's go ahead and vote.
Say when.
And I say when.
Oh.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
Well, I guess we're going with Sean's pick, King Solomon's Mines.
All right. This is gonna. It's got a good cast, but I like have a vague recollection of like 2 scenes. Like this could be a terrible movie. This is like when this came out in '85. I was like, 7, 8-year-old Sean watching this movie.
I mean, we got a kick out of Flash Gordon, so
I remembered that better than I remember this. I knew Flash Gordon was cheesy, but I also knew I enjoyed it. It had been a long time since I had seen it, but King Solomon's Mines, it's been a long time. This could be highly offensive. That'll be the best. This movie was openly racist just the whole time.
Very much looking forward to it.
It always warms my heart when we pick Sean movies. It's like, this is going to be an experience.
Yeah. Yeah. No question. All right. Well, that about wraps it up for us. Theater Near You is a part of the Geekade Podcast Network, and if you'd like to get in touch with us to share your comments, movie suggestions, or whatever, you can send us an email at mail@geekade.com. We can also be found on most social media outlets and the official Geekade Discord server, all of which can be found in our show notes. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time in a theater near you.
Arr.
Arr.
None of man's fantasies of evil can compare with the reality of Jaws. Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss. Jaws. See it before you go swimming.